Welcome to today's Shamans Directory live event with Sandra Ingerman, Walking Through Darkness. Before we get started, I just want to say hi to Sandra so she can say hello to everyone and you can see that she's here.
Hi, everyone.
We are recording on speaker view. So just to let everyone know, if you prefer gallery view so that you can see the global community here, feel free to have your cameras on gallery view. We assure you, you will not appear in the recording of this video. I'm Tricia Bennett. I live on the northeast coast of the United States. I'm one of the hosts of Shamans Directory, and I'm always honored to have the opportunity to welcome you all to our online events. I welcome you to say hello in the chat and let us know where you're from. And also to take a minute to just settle in to create your own sacred space so that you're able to receive all of the wisdom and knowledge that will be offered to us today. For those of you who do not know us yet, Shamans Directory is an online global platform dedicated to bringing shamanic earth-based services to the world's doorstep. We are inclusive to original people, First Nation healers, and modern-day lineage-based shamanic practitioners. We are a nonprofit created for healers, teachers, clients, and the curious to offer global access to shamanic healing and teaching and to contribute to the illumination, preservation, and protection of traditional and indigenous wisdom across the planet. It is our hope that all of our offerings at Shamans Directory will inspire you to explore the earth-based traditions of the world and to add shamanic earth-based healing to your regular health and well-being routine. If you would like to learn more about us, we invite you to visit our website at Shamans Directory. And if you'd like to follow us on social media, Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube, you can do that at Shamans Directory. So all of the links for today's program will be put in the chat for Shamans Directory and for how you can reach Sandra Ingerman and all of her programs. And you don't need to worry about taking notes because this program is being recorded and it will be posted within about 24 hours on YouTube. So feel free to just relax and enjoy the program. So before we begin, I would like to give an introduction to our honored guest today. Author, teacher, inspirational motivator, ceremonial leader, guest speaker, and researcher, Sandra Ingerman is a world-renowned teacher of shamanism, recognized for bridging ancient cross-cultural healing methods with our modern-day culture. A licensed marriage and family therapist, a professional mental health counselor, and a board-certified expert on traumatic stress, Sandra has taught her down-to-earth style of shamanism and medicine for the earth work to thousands of people over the past 40 years, offering workshops across the world on shamanic journeying, healing, and reversing environmental pollution using spiritual methods. She has authored 13 books, including Soul Retrieval, Mending the Fragmented Self, Medicine for the Earth, Walking in Light, and the Book of Ceremony, Shamanic Wisdom for Invoking the Sacred in Everyday Life. Sandra and Hank Wesselman's book, Awakening to the Spirit World, The Shamanic Path of Direct Revelation, won both the 2011 Coalition of Visionary Resources Visionary Award and the 2011 Independent Publisher Book Award. And in 2020, she was honored by Watkins Body, Mind, Spirit magazine as one of their 100 most spiritually influential people. Sandra is known for gathering the global spiritual community together to perform powerful, transformative ceremonies, as well as inspiring us to stand strong in unity so that we can do our own spiritual and social activism work while keeping a vision of hope and bringing our light to the world. Each month, for over 20 years, Sandra has published the Transmutation News, offering her readers thoughts to reflect on exercises to try, and a monthly journey or ceremony. She hosts a weekly podcast with Renee Baribeau called The Shaman's Cave, where they informally discuss many aspects of life and how to dive deeper into ourselves and the world. If you have read any of her books or taken any of her courses, you know that Sandra is passionate about helping people to reconnect with nature. This is ever apparent in her newest book, Walking Through Darkness, written with Llyn Roberts and published in February of this year. Welcome, Sandra.
Thank you so much, Tricia, and hi, everyone. That all sounds so amazing, doesn't it? But I'm just another human being, like all of you, trying to figure out how to walk through this life and get through in a good way and be able to leave here from a place of peace. And so I just want to share a little bit about uh, what we're going to do today. I'll give you a little bit of an introduction of what my plans are for today. I never know if I'm getting too excited about what I can squeeze in. We'll do as much as we can. And because of the times that we're living in the Q&A, I'm happy to answer questions, of course. But in the Q&A, I'm actually going to plant a seed of a discussion of where you're at with a particular place that I'm going to talk about with walking through darkness, because I feel it's just a really big question for the times that we're living in. And so I just wanted to share a little bit. I grew up in Brooklyn, New York, and I grew up in an immigrant neighborhood. My parents were second generation born here, and it was just a tough place to grow up. Nature really saved me because I love nature so much. So it brought me just a ton of joy. But there was just so much darkness where I grew up, such pain, such suffering, such fear, such grief. And so I had this thing, it was like a destiny for me of being able to feel people feel comfortable talking to me. And so throughout my life, walking down the streets of Brooklyn, New York, people would stop me and share what was happening in their lives. And I worked in my father's store, and people would come in just to talk to me. They would buy something, but they just came in to talk to me. And so it was such an early age. I was no more than 7 years old when I just saw how much darkness people were living in. And I really made a decision at some point in my life that I wanted to teach people how to manifest joy. I felt that we came here for joy. We didn't come here for all the suffering that we experience. That isn't what I signed up for. At least that's not what I thought I signed up for. And so I've been through so many initiations. I got hit by lightning when I was a kid, and one of the things, and why I want to make this point, because I think it's really important for all of us in the Western world right now who are studying shamanism, is that when I was hit by lightning, that was an initiation. Every shamanic culture talks about being hit by lightning as an initiation into the path of shamanism. But never had an elder. I didn't have any elders, and so nobody told me what that initiation meant, what practices I needed to start in my life. I missed all of that, and in a lot of ways, it served me because I'm one of those people who I really, really believe in direct revelation, that nobody has the answers except for us and the spirits. And so I picked a path of shamanic journeying, which gives the journeyer their own agency to work directly with the spirits. So if you're missing elders, you have the spirits as your elders who raised you. And so, for a lot of us in the Western world, we were actually raised by the helping spirits because I don't know about you, but my family didn't raise me. So, nature raised me. My helping spirits raised me. The visions of fairies and all of that raised me. It showed me the beauty of life, and I just was so passionate about showing it to everybody. And I have no complaints about my life. Whatever my karma was, whatever my destiny was, I got the life that I was supposed to lead with whatever lessons I was supposed to get in this lifetime. But I got thrown from one initiation into another. I've had near-death experiences with every element that exists on this earth. Um, and I came out of it, and I came out with a lot to share. And so the reason that I'm bringing this all up is because I do believe that the days when we used to have our grandparents or our great aunts or great uncles rocking us on a rocking chair and giving us a roadmap for life, we're not getting that in this lifetime. We don't have those elders that are rocking us and telling us when things get really tough, when things get really tough, and you have no idea the ground that you're standing on right now. You don't know what's holding you up anymore. We don't have elders that teach us what to do in those times. And so I've had to teach my practitioners and my teachers. We've all had to learn how to come into our own and to be a direct channel for the helping spirits. And so in shamanism, one of the most important things, and those of you who take shaman directory trainings with indigenous elders, I'm sure that you've heard how important community is. How important community is for everybody who lives in an indigenous community. Um, and in the old days, the initiations were so powerful, like some of the ones that I went through, because they wanted to see if you were strong enough to be a strong member of the community. A lot of people did not survive shamanic initiations. They weren't supposed to. They didn't have, they couldn't step away from their ego, from their personality, and find that strength of spirit, that fire within, that light within, that passion for life within, that seed of source that just brightens us up. That's what takes us through initiations. Your ego, it doesn't know what to do. You're thrown into this unbelievable place, and your ego goes, I don't know, who's going to help me, who's going to help me, and your personality is freaking out, and you getting frozen, and you just get into bed, and you put the covers over your head. But the power of initiation is when that seed of source that was given to you at birth, that you were born with at birth, when that seed of source and your own soul that got born with the DNA that has every single instruction that you have to thrive in this lifetime. And that lives in your soul. And so when you can really rise up into spirit, and when you can really listen to your soul and let your soul lead you, that's what takes you through the fire. That's what takes you through the fire without getting burnt at all. And then when you get through the fire, you're now a community member who can help the rest of your community survive. You're not looking to them to carry you. You had to raise the strength inside of you to carry you through that initiation. And that's what we're all going through right now. And that's why I'm doing this long beginning, because um, it always has been. What I've shared always has been. And this is where we are right now. We're going through an incredible collective initiation. And the test is, can we find that bright spirit inside of us, which is the seed of source? Can we find a way to go deep enough down into our soul, where our soul has everything that we need to take us through and um, carry us through the darkness where the light will always find us? And so my desire for working with darkness and walking through darkness, that I wrote with Llyn, has been about how to give people roadmaps. And so it all started with me teaching a 7-week course for the Shift Network on walking through darkness leads to the light of the shaman. And then the day I finished the course, Llyn contacted me and asked me if I wanted to write a book with her on that. And I said, sure. And then after the book was written, I recorded an audio, which I'll talk about later, that where I do an audio lecture and guided journeys to take you through all the material that I wrote about and I taught about through the Shift Network. So this has been a really big thing for me, because why it's so big is because we didn't get the training of how to walk through the darkness on our own. And we see the darkness as we demonize the darkness. We demonize the darkness. And actually, the darkness is one of the deepest, most enriching places that we can actually spend our time, because it's that place where you're not so distracted by the light outside. And so your energy naturally, like all of nature goes within in the darkness. Everything in nature goes within. Bears hibernate. Um, you think of all the animals that find that way to just go in and rest and regenerate. The darkness is an incredible place of regeneration, and people are just so afraid of it. It's really interesting to me. I'm really lucky. I didn't grow up in the country, but I moved to Santa Fe 40 years ago, and I was really lucky to be able to move not right in the city. And where I live, it's actually called the extraterrestrial zone, and you're not allowed to fence off your property, so everybody can walk through your property or ride horses through an arroyo. They can't come up to your house, but they can walk through an arroyo. And so what I find is that when we start entering this cycle, this season, I start to walk in the darkness at night through the arroyo, where at other times I walk during the day. And what I find is that by walking through the arroyo in the darkness, it just brings such a calmness to my body. Everything just slows down. My body gets quiet. I can go within. I can reflect on my day. I can reflect on gratitude and beauty in a much deeper way when I'm getting so distracted by the sun and by the light. And so walking through the darkness is actually an incredibly rich experience. And it's not something to be afraid of because it really takes you to the deepest places inside of yourself where you can finally hear you and not everybody else. And that's the biggest problem I see that we're all experiencing today is we have too many people talking to us. We have so many people talking to us, we can't hear ourselves anymore. And so, really being able to take that time out, and I feel really grateful I got thrown into the darkness as long as I did. I really do, because it was such a rich time for me. It was such a time of deep healing and reflection and things I couldn't get if I was just being distracted by my ordinary life all the time. And the last two things that might just be one, but the last thing I want to say is I think my second journey in 1980, I started journeying on Halloween of 1980. And my second journey, my helping spirit came to me and said, whatever happens in your life, do not sit down in the dark. And that was probably one of the best messages he ever gave me because what happens and what we're seeing now is that people are getting paralyzed by the darkness instead of understanding that the key is not to sit down, but to keep taking the absolute smallest step that you can possibly take, no matter how small it is, like getting out of bed for the day. It could be that small. As you keep walking and taking those really small steps, what I find, the light always finds everybody. The light always finds everybody and shows them the path out once they finish their work. So it's a really beautiful process where all of a sudden you get thrown out of an airplane at 30,000 feet and you hit the ground with no tools, no parachutes, no nothing, no flashlights, no food, no anything. And you're in this place, and this begins your journey. And so there's a lot of things that we look at during this time. And what I would like to look at during our time together is three very important principles. I can't go through every single part of the roadmap, obviously, but I picked out three very important principles that I feel are important for us to be able to work on, especially during the times that we're living in right now. So I just want to take a minute because there's been a tremendous amount of talking. And what I'd like to do is just do a little bit of rattling. And I just want to let you know that when I teach shamanism, everything is very interactive. And I don't believe in passive journeying. I believe in journeying, standing, singing, dancing, drumming, the laying down thing with listening. I don't do that. I haven't done that for a really long time. And so, any of you who would like during the journeys and during the opening invocation who would like to drum and rattle with me and stand and sing, please feel free to do that. So let's just start by closing our eyes and taking some really deep breaths, into your lower belly. Bring your awareness and your attention there, because that's the place where you can really ground to the earth. And just imagine a beautiful light starting from the top of your head, going down through your spine, through your body, connecting you down all the way into the earth. And then allowing that light to flow back up through your crown, connecting you to the heavens. And we're always, always connected to the middle world through our heart, because we bridge heaven and earth through our heart. And so we all set an intention that we call to the helping spirits of the land that we live on, the helping spirits that we work with all the time, the spirit of earth, of the wind, of fire and the sun, and of the primal sea, and of the cosmos, and of the moon, and the galaxies, and the stars. We give thanks for holding space for us, whether it's in this webinar or whether it's after this webinar is over. We give thanks for you holding space for us and witnessing our journey, our earth journey that we all have to go through as we walk through a time of dismemberment, where we're asked to let go of our ego and body, and where we're asked to reconnect with Source and remember that we are Source, creating the dream of life. And so we give thanks to the helping spirits who join us, who are willing to work with us during our time today and after our time today, to keep helping us working forward. And so we remember that we are true spirits. Who we truly are is not our ego, and it's not our body. Once again, we are spirit. We are a true reflection of Source. Source created us from a place of unconditional love. And we are here to learn the lessons of being a human, a spirit in a human body. And that's not always easy. And it requires an incredible commitment to being willing to let go of your old personality and how you've compensated through your life because all that happened to you in the past. How did you have to change your personality? How did you have to change who you were just to get through life, just to get through to the place where you are now? And then when we go down into the darkness, when we are willing to journey down deep into the darkness, all of a sudden that identity sheds like a skin, sheds its own skin. It's like, it's not you. That's not you. And that's not who you are. And so, in the beauty of the place of darkness, where we dismember our ego and we dismember our body, and we discreate the old dreams and um, the old personalities that we attach to, and we uncreate and we keep dissolving and we destroy what needs to let go of. That's when we move into a place where we can remember, where we can create, where we can weave, where we can nurture, we can sing the song of rebirth. But first, we do have to do the work of letting go of our ego and our body and letting that be dismembered, letting it be destroyed, so that we have a true connection. We are a complete connection with Source once again. And once we go back to Source, Source reminds us that we came here with an unbelievable passion that people have tried to move us away from. And this passion was our actual destiny of why we came here. And you remember how Source holds you in so much love and no judgment. And Source teaches you how to love yourself again. I find one of the biggest lessons of walking through the darkness is learning how to love yourself again for who you truly are, not who you were told that you are, who you truly are, and what your passion is. And so I'd like to welcome those back who went into a meditative state while I was talking. And so that's really our work. Our work is about dismembering ourselves and going down into the darkness and remembering, why did we come here? What was our true personality? Because so many of us in life, if you're following, I'm a therapist, and if you're following all the nervous system work out there, all the nervous system work out there is about what we all had to do to compensate for the abuse that we suffered in our life, and that we're actually not living our true life. And that's why so many people feel like they're in the darkness right now, because they're not living their true life. And once you get into the darkness, there is nothing but you. There is nothing but you. There's no spirits to talk to. They stand on the side. They stand on the side on purpose. They cheer you along. They're cheering you. They haven't deserted you in any way. They know you can do it. They know you can do it. And they're just cheering you along. Can you find your soul? Can you find your spirit so that you can take that little next step through? And we're going to be at the end of the line cheering you and welcoming you into your true self and who you came here to be and what you're going to share in the community. So it's really a beautiful process. So the first thing that came for me was in my 10-year initiation. I can go back and talk about all my initiations in the past, but that would be too boring for everybody. So I'm just going to talk about this last 10-year initiation that I've been in. I'm not done yet, but I'm getting there. Um, um, what I found was the biggest mistake that I made, the biggest mistake I could have been out of this initiation so much earlier. I did not trust my intuition. I trusted everybody else except for me. I saw shamans all over the world, and I took in whatever they told me. I saw functional doctors, I saw allopathic doctors, I saw psychics, I saw mediums. I saw, you wouldn't believe, I did everything. I took every single test that exists on the planet to find out what was happening with me. And I listened to everybody except myself. And so a few years ago, like I said, I probably could have been out of this initiation a really, really long time ago. But I was listening to my students on Facebook. I was listening to people who loved me. I was listening to doctors. I was listening to blood tests. But I forgot to listen to my body. And when I realized this a few months ago, all of a sudden, my body started talking to me. And my body started saying, I need this, and I need this, and this is what I need. I never needed any of that. And I started getting better. I started getting better. I started seeing rapid improvements. I gave my power away to everybody except myself. And, I think a lot about it now because I'm getting ready to turn 72 and I've been alone through my life, most of my life. I've had no support. And um, I got through trusting my deep inner wisdom and my deep intuition, which never let me down once. But I got tricked. This was part of my lesson. This was all part of the teaching. I don't believe it was an accident. I had to learn the lesson of what happens when you listen to everybody except yourself. And it is a big lesson when you listen to everybody except yourself. And so, in walking through darkness, I talked about coyote because coyote is oftentimes known about the trickster. And so, one of the things that I found about the roadmap of walking through the darkness is once you enter that place of the darkness, you would not believe all the people who come out of the woodwork. Everybody comes out of the woodwork. I can help you. I have the supplement to help you. I have the psychic. I know how to turn frequencies up in the body. And if you just work with me, my nervous system can't handle another frequency. And people keep trying to get me to move it to another frequency. It was amazing. Hundreds of people came out of the woodwork telling me what I needed. Um, and it wasn't until I listened to myself that I actually started getting better. And so I warn people about this. When you start getting into the darkness, you start losing trust in yourself. You start questioning your own self-worth. And are there people who know more than you do about what you're going through? And so you start to act as a child and you start to listen to everybody instead of being the stubborn, rebellious person you've been all your life and not listen to anything anybody ever had to say. We all have to get back to that place. There's a balance. There's definitely a balance. Yes, science has answers for us. Therapists have answers for us. Our friends have answers for us. But we also carry the biggest answers for us inside of us too. And so don't abandon yourself in the time of darkness. So that was one thing that I wanted to really bring up during this webinar. And now what I'd like to talk about is how we can do some healing so that we can start to move through the darkness a little bit better. So what I found in the spiritual community is that one of the things that the spiritual community, the Westerns, I teach Westerners now, One of the things that the Western spiritual community doesn't understand how to do, and especially in the shamanic community, is you don't know how to love yourself. We have all this stuff about self-worth, and if we love ourselves, we're going to see as an egoed out being. And we just have this culture just puts so much toxicity on us about love. You know, love has been demonized in every way possible. And we came here to experience true unconditional love. And so I wrote about this in my book, Medicine for the Earth, but I don't talk about it very much because I find that in a modern population, when I wrote Medicine for the Earth, people embraced it more. People changed now and they're too sensitive to hear this, but I'm going to share it with you. I did have a near death experience where I went to God, and there was God, and you know how I picture God, just this unbelievable source of light, unbelievable source of light beyond anything that I could imagine. And the love that was being shared with me was unbelievable. I mean, unbelievable. And I took in that love. I mean, it was so beautiful. And I turned my head and I looked to the side of me, and there was Hitler. And Hitler was receiving exactly the same amount of love as I was, everything that I was receiving, because I wasn't seen as Sandra Ingerman, and he wasn't being seen as Hitler. He was being seen as a child of God, and I was being seen as a child of God, and God only knows how to love. And we come here as an earth play. This is all a play. Um, and we take on roles. We take on different roles, but that doesn't mean that the roles that we take on don't involve a spiritual love, that there's a destiny. We play every single role in life. We play every role in life. And so that's what we're going to look at in the next journey. We can all judge, well, Sandra helped people, so she should get God's love, and this person killed 6 million people. Um, we at this particular point, if you start to see that every role that you take on is a teaching for you and is part of your destiny. We've all been the victims and we've all been the abusers. We've all murdered people and we've been murdered by people. We were slaves at some point in our lives, and we slaved people. We took over countries at some point in wars, and we were taken over. We play every role in going through the wheel. That's part of what life is about. Part of what life is about is learning what every role is like. And so I had this unbelievable dream once. It was really an amazing dream, one of those really vivid dreams. It was back in Roman times, and it was a violent war scene. You know, blood everywhere, gladiators, blood, swords, everything. You know, the whole thing. And so I'm watching the stream and actual absolute horror. I'm a very sensitive person. I can't handle these things. I'm watching the dream in absolute horror. And all of a sudden, the dream changes to a stage. And the main warrior, he had blonde hair, blue eyes, young. He was the main warrior. You know, he killed hundreds and hundreds of people. And he got up on stage, and some of the other warriors came up on stage with him. And there were about 1,000 of us in the audience, and we all started talking to him. We started raising our hands and saying, "What was it like to play that role in that play? What was it like to play that role in life? What was it like to play that role in life?" And it was a really interesting dream that really showed me that we just come in to get this whole variety of experiences, and we can get into blaming other people. But from a spiritual shamanic perspective, what I've learned in my 44 years of studying shamanism is that most shamanic cultures believe in reincarnation. Not all, but most shamanic cultures believe in reincarnation. And so we keep coming back and we keep taking different roles and we keep getting lessons, and hopefully we get the final lesson that we're not a body, we're not a personality, we're spirit, and we're beings of unconditional love that was born with the seed of source. And we can create magic and remember the beauty of life and create the beauty of life and reweave the entire web of life again and nurture the earth and sing our rebirth. You know, in shamanism, everything is about creating, is about singing and dancing. That's how we create. We bring through our creations through our movement and through the tones. And so this is leading us into this big journey that I want to lead you into, in that we're going to look at all the different roles that you play. Um, did you hurt somebody in the past, in a past life? Were you hurt in a past life? Did you betray a whole community? Did you betray an entire tribe in a past life? Were you betrayed? Were you part of a community where you were taken over unfairly? um, what happened? And obviously, we don't have time to go through every past life, but how I'm going to lead you is allowing the wind. I love the wind. The wind is one of my strongest allies. And so the wind is going to be our ally that's going to help us take those memories. They don't exist anymore, they're gone. You're carrying this ball and chain that should have been let go of thousands of years ago. You're still dragging it with you. And look at where the world is right now. What would have happened if you would have let all that go? Where would we be now? We'd be in a different place instead of looping the same traumas and betrayals and hurts over and over and over again. So we say we came here to learn, we learned the lesson, we let it go, we let it go. Yes, I did a terrible thing. Yes, terrible things were done to me, but it was in the past. It was in the past. It's not here anymore. I have to let go of this. I can't carry it anymore. And so I work with the Egyptian goddess Isis, and I work with the helping spirit for healing, but Isis works with me on more global world events. And what she's been saying to me every single day for probably the last year is, the ground is dissolving right below your feet. Keep moving. The ground is dissolving right under your feet. Keep moving. So this takes us back into walking through darkness, in that we just have to keep moving through all the old stuff that's been keeping us from being able to be the creator that we came in to be. So in this journey, I'm going to guide you in how it's going to work. First, I'll tell you how it's going to work, and then we'll do it. Again, if you want to use a drum or rattle, you can. Um, and so, how this is going to work is I'll start with an invocation, and then at some point, I'm going to ask Trisha to put up a picture. Not yet, but a picture. And the picture is going to be a very, very long, desolate road in the desert. I mean, as desolate as they come. And I'm going to guide you. I'm never going to stop talking, so don't worry, I won't lose you out there. I'm going to guide you to this road. And if you really have to work with a helping spirit, you can work with a helping spirit, but let yourself work with your intuition, let yourself tap in, let the wind, or if you work with another element really strongly, let that other element step in for you. And so I'm just going to ask you a series of questions and ask you when you're ready to let go. And then we're going to move into the present. We're going to do the same thing. And then we're going to move into the future. And we're going to clear our whole past, present, and future so that we can start in the present. Isis always says the future is created from the present. So this is going to bring us back to the present, where you have no burdens from the past, you have no burdens from the present, and you let go of your possible burdens in the future, and you stay present, and you learn how to find your own resilience, your own strength, your own agency, and how to live your life moving from your intuition and from a place of love. So are we all ready to do this journey? It's a very beautiful journey, and I like to lead it. And obviously, we can't deal with every single lifetime in this journey. So I'll give you some prompts, but again, this is recorded. It's in Walking Through Darkness, and I do take people through it, guide people through it on Polishing the Path of the Soul. So it's a journey that you can keep doing over and over again and just clear everything. I can't carry one more burden. I cannot carry one more burden. My body cannot carry one more burden. And so this is true for a lot of people, but you don't even know it. You're so worn down because of what you're carrying. And so this is a time of regeneration, not a time of blaming. It's a time of letting go that you chose to be part of this life play. And now it's time to let go of those roles and be present and clear in your new role, which is you, the you that you always wanted to be. Okay, so I'll just start with a little bit of rattling again. And then I'll start drumming, and again, I'll guide you throughout this entire journey. So here we go. Imagine yourself going down into your heart and feeling what your heart is feeling right at this moment. And just stay with the feelings in your heart. Because your heart knows, the element knows what you need to let go of to live a good life on this earth. And so we're going to trust this heart in our journey. It will be spirit-led, but heart-driven too. Okay, so now Trisha's going to put up a picture for us of a road. And so I call this, I'm just going to take my video off so you're not distracted by me. And I call this journey letting go of old hurts, betrayals, kind of everything from your past. And so, again, I'll be guiding you in the journey, and you're starting from your starting place is the room that you're in right now. So here we go. So once again, go down into your heart and feel what's sitting in your heart right now. So much is going on in people's lives. We don't know what the future brings. And a lot of us are in a lot of anticipatory worry. And so the key to life is learning how to stay in the present. Where in the present, our inner fire can burn, our inner water can clear, our inner wind can help us breathe deeply and connect with the powers of the earth and always be resilient. And of course, the earth always holds us and feeds us with all the nurturants we need, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. And so we give thanks to the elements that live inside of us. We're made up of earth, air, water, fire. And we feel those elements moving through us, bringing new life to ourselves on a minute-to-minute basis. And if you haven't put your hands on your heart, do that now. And feel a sense of love for yourself, for all that you've been through. You've been through a lot. And you're here, and you're growing, and you're evolving, and you're letting go. Letting go a lot of what you've been carrying. And so imagine yourself standing up and walking to the door of your house or your apartment and walking outside. And you find yourself on a path of beauty. And this path is going to lead you from the ordinary world that you're living in now It's going to lead you to a path outside of time in a very desolate desert. But before we get to the desert, we walk up a beautiful path filled with the vibrance of nature, the colors, the sounds, the fragrances, feeling our feet connecting deeply, deeply with the earth, with little hearts on our soles, breathing with the earth who's billions of years old. So we connect with the earth for her support before we go on this journey. And as we walk on the path together, we sing a song. Mother, I feel you under my feet. Mother, I feel your heartbeat. Mother, I feel you under my feet. Mother, I feel your heartbeat. Hey, 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 oh. Hey, 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 oh. Hey, 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 oh. Hey, 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 yo, Mother, I feel you under my feet. Mother, I feel your heartbeat. Mother, I feel you under my feet. Mother, I feel your heartbeat. Hey, 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 yo. 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 And feeling the strength of the earth supporting you. Feel that true connection on your feet. And all of a sudden you find yourself in a completely different alien landscape. A road in the middle of absolutely nowhere. And with using your imagination and with your intention, you see that picture of the road, imagining yourself taking a place, standing right on the middle of the road. Your helping spirits might not be there with you, but trust me, they are cheering you on. And so look to the right and look to the left and look in front of you and look behind. And just allow yourself to be present in the desert. And so we start by looking right. Wherever right leads you to. And you're looking down your past. A particular event that's really troubling you might show itself. Or there might be a series of events that you know what they are, but you just need to clear them. The time is now to clear them. You can't carry them anymore. Nobody has the resilience to carry lifetimes of burdens dragging us like metal bowls behind us, weighing us down. We wonder why we're having such a hard time moving forward. Why we can't remember the truth of who we are. So much of our past is bleeding through now. So much of our past is pushing through into our present. And this is not healthy. And this is not supportive for your growth. So you look over your past to one event or a few events, or just as a collection, knowing that you can do this journey alone again. And notice that the wind is coming towards you. And the wind greets you. It plays with your hair. And the wind actually creates a bubble. Lots of bubbles. Different colors. And the wind invites you to place those old hurts, betrayals, what you've done to others, what others have done to you, what you've done to yourself. Place it all in bubbles and watch as the wind blows it to the creative forces of the universe to be dismembered, discreated, uncreated, dissolved, and destroyed. This energy no longer burdens you anymore. And so now, knowing that we might not be finished, but that we can return at a later time, we stand forward. We stand forward, meeting our past. And we look out into the distance, in front of us, behind us, meeting our present, not our past. I'm sorry. Who hurt you? Who betrayed you? Did you betray someone? Did you betray yourself? Do you love yourself? Have people told you that your words and your actions have hurt you? But you were really trying to do the best you could, and you were trying to come from your heart, and you were trying to survive. Can you let all of that go? Can you let all of that go? It doesn't serve you. Take the lessons that you learned. Know that your cells carry the lessons that you learned. And now watch as the wind approaches with different colored bubbles. Place the memories, the emotions, the racing thoughts, the anticipatory worries and fears into those bubbles, and let the wind take it to the creative forces to dismember, discreate, uncreate, dissolve, and destroy those memories so that you can be free to stand in your original strength, the strength that you were born with. You had so much passion looking from the unseen spirit realms down onto this great earth. So much passion, so much joy about coming in, and a true sense of purpose. Put your hands on your heart as you let all the energies of the present that are weighing you down just go. Let the wind blow them. Let those bubbles carry them to the creative forces of the universe, and put your hands on your heart and ask yourself the question, why am I here? Why am I here? What is my purpose? What is my joy? Such a beautiful soul that carries the power of Source. And as I remember my power, then I can weave a new dream. I can remember, I can create, I can weave, I can nurture myself. And I can sing joyful songs and dance joyful dances of rebirth. Feel what that feels like in your heart, knowing that you might need to do more work around this. And now we turn to the left, to the future. In the practice of shamanism, we're outside of time. Past, present, and future are going on all at the same time. So let's look into the future. Who might you hurt? Who might hurt you? Are you still feeling that you're in the future, carrying burdens from your past and present? Who do you need to let go of in your life so that you feel accepted and validated and seen and heard? Have you been compensating for all the things that happened to you in life, and you learned how to please others, and you learned how to do all the things that would just get you through, but not live out your truest destiny? Look into your future and see yourself, imagine yourself, see, hear, feel, taste, and smell the beauty of who you are. And see yourself in the future doing something so beautiful for yourself and others, because you were able and willing to do the hard work of letting go of all the burdens you've been carrying, of roles that no longer serve you, of costumes that are so thread-barren. They're so old, they have so many holes in them. They have no purpose for you anymore. The only purpose is to distract you from who you truly are. Come back to yourself. Feel yourself in the future, living a good life, enjoying nature, smelling the terpenes of the trees, knowing you did the best in life that you could. And now you're doing the best that you can to serve yourself and others. And we feel ourselves standing in the present with a new glimmer of hope and opportunity that we can change the future. And whatever we're worrying about is taking us into the past or into the future, but not having us deal with the present. And we look right into the past and we give thanks for all the lessons that we learned, no matter how hard they were. There were opportunities for growth if you were willing to take them. And we say goodbye to the past. We know that the past happened. And that just is. But we transmute the energy. So now what we're carrying into the present and future is the energy of pure light, the energy of peace, the energy of knowing that carrying the past is hurting our body, it's hurting our soul, it's hurting the planet. And now it's time to be free and to raise our hands up to the sky and to feel our feet planted on the earth and to feel the waters of the world and the winds of the world surrounding us, clearing us. We feel so pure, we feel so cleansed. But we had to walk through the darkness. We had to see what we did and see what was done to us. But once we keep walking forward and letting all those old burdens sink into the sand, we find ourselves standing in our true power, knowing we came here to experience more, to do more, and to be a being of love. So we give thanks to the elements and to our helping spirits who supported us. And we say that it's now time to turn around and to journey back home, retracing our steps down that beautiful path, singing with a lightness in our body and a lightness in our step while we still feel connected to all the elements. Mother, I feel you under my feet. Mother, I feel your heartbeat. Mother, I feel you under my feet. Mother, I feel your heartbeat. Hey, 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 oh. Hey, 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 oh. Hey, 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 oh. Hey, 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 yo. And you come back to your door, and your door actually transforms into a veil or a curtain or a mist or a fog that you step back through into your house or apartment, or wherever you are right now, feeling a renewed lightness. There might be some sadness for all that you experienced, but we know that we've done really good work, even if it was just a start, of letting go of the burdens we don't need anymore, and that are keeping us looped into our own personal traumas and into our old world traumas. We're just looping. It's time to end the loop. We say goodbye to the past, and we say it happened, and we say we learned so that we could be strong in the present and only imagine the greatest and most beautiful dreams for all of life, for the present and for the future. So we give thanks to all the spirits that joined us, and for our beautiful circle that did their own work as we worked. And this will create a ripple effect throughout the entire universe. And we can go back and repeat this work again and again. But for now, our work is done. So Trisha can take down the photo, and welcome back everybody. And I just want to welcome you back from this big work with my fairy bells, welcoming you all back. So that is actually really big work, and I've been working with it myself since I wrote Walking Through Darkness, and I've been doing this work. So I really encourage you to go back and really just try and clear the karma that you're carrying, and try and clear all the old wounds, because they really do keep us from our feelings, feeling what we're feeling in the present. And they do keep us from moving forward into a positive future. I realize the challenges that are ahead. I don't do spiritual bypasses. I've been through enough pain and suffering in my life to know how to hold pain and suffering while also creating a good life. And what my spirit, helping spirit, Isis, tells me is that as long as you do your work, and keep moving forward, there is a path for all of us to walk through. And she's asking all of us to walk through together, which she's actually never asked for before. She's always said, this is your own journey and you have to do it on your own. But recently, she's been talking to me about the power of community, and that all of us are going to need to walk through the coming times together. And that community is going to become the most important thing that we have in our lives. And so it's time to let go of the past. It's time to let go of all that we're holding that's not allowing us to move forward, and to create really beautiful communities who know how to support each other, and who know how to transcend ego, and who know how to bring through the messages of the earth again. And so I really want to thank you for doing this journey. And I just want to let you know we're not finished. So, but it was a big journey, and I hope that you will keep it up. Yesterday, I was thinking about today and where we are in the world. And so, if it's okay with you, I'd like to, I'm open to questions, but instead of just sticking to questions, I'd like to plant some seeds with you that I wrote about in the chapter of Sun and Moon in Walking Through Darkness. And this was about the difference between when do you fight, when do you accept, and when do you surrender. And in my journey with my health issues, people kept saying to me over the 10 years, if you would just surrender, if you would just surrender. And surrender, to me, it was a word that kept triggering me, because surrender meant giving up. And surrender to me meant giving up, continuing my efforts to feel well again. And so, but yet I was tired of fighting. I was just fighting every single day. And so I finally moved into a place of acceptance. And so I did write a lot about the difference between fight and accept and surrender. And I feel like we have entered a time where this is going to become a really big issue for a lot of us of when do we keep fighting? When do we accept that what's happening in the world is happening and there are lessons for us, and that we keep sharing love and light, and we keep doing the work that we know, the spiritual practices that we know how to do to ripple across the world, to maybe not have as deep of a struggle um, that we might be facing. And so I feel that we have so much power in the spiritual community, but that the spiritual community is giving up. And I'm seeing it constantly, and I'm not giving up. And I'm really present right now because I don't want people to give up. We have we have such opportunity. We have such gifts that are living inside of us to create something different than what we think that we're walking through, especially when we come together in community, especially when we come together in community. And so I just wonder, I've been hit by lightning twice now, recently. Lightning hitting me is what caused my new initiation of this last 10 years. It hit me when I was 7. I drowned in the ocean and was brought to the most beautiful place I can ever imagine. I was in a near plane crash and almost died and had a near death experience there. And I drove my car off a cliff and had a near death experience. And I had an 8-ton boulder on Mount Shasta miss me by 5 feet, which was probably one of the strongest experiences of my life. And so I've learned how to survive. I've learned how to fight, but I haven't always learned how to accept and surrender. And so I just wanted to open this up to the group. And what are your thoughts on fight, accept, and surrender?
I see Cindy says, I'll just be honest and share that while I've journeyed many times for others and with others, I've never once experienced a journey through your recordings or online offerings like this. My question would be, when you are on your own, do you get more into the experience by not talking while you journey?
No, what happened for me is I started teaching online in before 2014, and all everybody, every organization I worked for said you have to do guided journeys. And in my 44 years of teaching, I'd never done a guided journey. And so since 2014, I've been leading guided journeys, and I have no idea what I'm doing before the journey. So I knew the topic that we were doing, but the journey kept changing as I was going. And I go so deep. I go so deep while I'm leading these journeys. I can't tell you how deep I go.
Let's see, another comment. It was easier to love myself when I accepted and worked from a place of power and I stopped fighting.
That's perfect. That's like sums it all up in a perfect way.
There's
So,
another beautiful question. How do you propose addressing physical darkness in families?
yeah, well, I have a lot I have a lot of that I'm also dealing with. And, it's a bit of a tricky question because I feel that we've shifted into another time on the planet. This is just what I feel. And so you have to trust your own intuition and please trust your own heart. For me, I've really, really been taken down in life by people who are have tried to destroy me or who haven't been supportive of me. And so, for the first time in my life, I'm sharing with people that it is time to say goodbye to the people who have not seen you for who you really are and who support you for who you really are. And I've never done this before. It's the first time in my life of 72 years that I'm doing this, but I'm telling people to say goodbye to family. I'm telling people to say goodbye to friends who 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 have um, who played a role in your life but don't have a role anymore because it's not supporting your health.
Yeah, I loved what you said in the journey, and I think before the journey about that we don't have the bandwidth to hang on to anything anymore that's a burden. And
Yes.
it kind of goes into this a question that this woman asked about how do you imagine people of spirit incorporating our spiritual light into the world, especially in community?
Well, I don't know how many of you are familiar with my work, but I teach a practice called transfiguration. It's so easy. I can just tell you how to do it now. I don't have to do a big thing. When you have some time, listen to some nice music or do some drumming and rattling and just go inside yourself and imagine your body dissolving and imagine your mind just floating away and imagine a really beautiful star from the sky or the moon or the sun sitting in your solar plexus and allow that light to start to grow through every single cell of your body and just allow that light to emanate. So when you think about a star doesn't try to send light. A star just shines. And so the light that I'm talking about is where you're not trying to do anything with the light. You're just allowing it to emanate through you. And I can tell you, we've been doing this work since 2000. We've been able to reverse pollution in water, taking water that was poisonous to drink. And I was in a group where we actually did drink all the water. My other groups just had me test it to see if it was safe, but one group wanted to drink it. We've had unbelievable miraculous healings of different illnesses, and it's about who you become. You've heard this before, not what you do. It's just being a being of light, being a star. I used to work with a teacher, Angela Arian, and she was from the Basque tradition, and she taught that the Basque people believe that we're all walking stars on this earth. And so think about this metaphor of just being a walking star. And I just want to throw this in. I did teach a course through the Shift Network and I did write Walking Through Darkness, but then afterwards, through Sounds True, I recorded a 10 plus hour audiobook called Polishing the Path of the Soul. And it's lectures, short lectures, but mostly long journeys, guided journeys on the material that I shared today and the material that I shared in Walking Through Darkness. So I do bring transfiguration in polishing the path of the soul. And I do share about how to be a being of light and how to be in service to the planet. But it's so easy. It's like, I used to have the longest practice to teach it, and then I was at a conference with 3,000 people, and the host gave me 3 minutes to get the whole group into a place of transfiguration. And I learned that my half an hour rituals of getting people into a place of transfiguration, people just dropped in, and we had a miracle healing in the group. You just go into your solar plexus, imagine a star, a moon, the sun, let it grow. The most important thing is absorb it into every cell of your body like a dry sponge with absorbed water. That's a very important key because it does heal the body and the spirit and the soul, but you have to absorb it, not just see light, but actually take it into every one of your cells. And then you'll be so filled with light, you just walk through the world as a being of light. And I think that's where our next evolution is going to.
Oh, that is beautiful. I love that. It just really it works for everything. You know, it works for every possible disaster you could imagine.
That's
And there are lots of them happening right now. So that really just works for everything. There's another question in here that says, what is the difference between surrender and quitting?
Well, that's an interesting question. I haven't thought about it, but I love it. Quitting to me is walking away. It's just, I'm done walking away. And if you can walk away, I wish I could walk away from some of the things that are going on in my life, but I can't. I can't quit. It's the universe is not giving it to me as an option. And so quitting is just walking away. Surrendering is saying, okay, I don't know what's going on, and I can use some help right now. And I'm going to stop fighting. I'm going to stop thinking so much. I'm going to stop trying so much. I'm going to sit down in a place of meditation in nature. And I'm just going to go inside and say, I surrender to what's happening and see what changes happen from that. Surrender is not passive, surrender is very active. Quitting is also very active, but quitting is a force. Quitting is a force. Quitting is a force. I don't want it. I don't want it. I'm going away. Surrender is making a choice to sit with it.
Hmm. There was another request for a definition of acceptance, but I think that was sort of included in what you just said. But you may want to say a little more about that.
Yeah, I'm still in, I'm just being transparent. So I'm talking about my own experience. And so it has been 10 years, and the predictions were that I was going to be healed 9 years ago. So, it's just an interesting walk through life. And so I don't fight. I definitely don't surrender because I'm still I'm following my intuition, and I'm making amazing, amazing progress. But I also accept that I might never heal fully in this lifetime.
I can see a huge difference in you from a year ago.
Thanks, Tricia.
Yeah, it's really beautiful to see. Yeah, you're right. Listening to yourself is working. So I'm not seeing more questions at this moment. Just a lot of comments saying thank you. This was really beautiful. Allowing spirit to lead the way. Love the sponge analogy. Uh, it says, here's one. I'm wondering how people from other parts of the world would see letting go. Oops, somebody just put another thing in and it moved. Um, I recall relatives abroad who would not turn others away despite some of the drama and addiction. Okay. Limits were set, but no one was ever rejected because they were family. Yeah.
Yeah, I deal with, I have a huge international community, and so I deal with many, many, many different cultures. And, in shamanism, you can't make one statement. Everything has to be handled in a very unique fashion. And so, I, because I do have a lot of international students, I am seeing them setting boundaries that I did not expect them to set. So the world is changing. The world is definitely changing of what people are willing to accept, what what family members are just willing to turn their backs to, of realizing life is not working and something has to change. But it's not going to be every family, and it's going to take time. And so how I train practitioners and I train teachers, and I realize they're all coming from different cultures. And so I try to address different cultures, and I do journey and talk about different ways, different words, different paths into a person's life to help them come back to a place of health again if it's their choice. We're at a place, I'm just going to be really honest, and I've been saying this for a while. We're at a place on the planet where nobody can be carried through. Nobody. And so the kindest thing that we can do for people is to make them stand up in their power. That's the kindest thing we could do for people right now. And to either, um, I had a friend, a really good friend who was dying, and he said to me, I said, Anthony, please let me help you. And he said, no, this is my illness. It's mine. You can't, I don't want your help. And that was a really difficult thing for me. But a lot of people don't want our help, and that's their choice, and we have to accept that. But we can't carry through. We can't carry through people to the next cycle. We can't.
Your shamanic spidey sense is working because you're answering every question before I get to ask you. So there's a question in here about how do you help or support people who don't have a relationship with spirit?
We can teach really simple things, teaching
Mhm,
people how to go into nature and just sit with a tree.
mhm.
Um, I used to teach the most powerful workshops in the 80s. I swear they were so powerful. And my groups are smaller, the shamanic world was different then. And at the end of the class, I would always ask, what was your favorite part of the class? And 100% of the people would say the 15 minutes that you told me to go out and sit with a tree. And I taught some of the most advanced shamanic methods that exist on the planet. And I do it with clients. I have my clients sit with a tree after they receive a healing, and they can't believe it. I mean, they can't believe it. And so I tell people sit with a tree and just notice if you hear something, if you get a feeling in your body, or you start to get an image, and just sit with the tree and just relax. And with the tree, start to talk with it with the way that it's sharing with you. And you can do this with anybody mainstream. I do want to say I actually did a pilot research study with the integrative medical school of the University of Michigan. It was a pilot research study to show whether the medicine for the earth work that I teach could help people who have depression after a heart attack, because after a heart attack, it's known to have depression. So it was a completely randomized study, completely randomized. And there were three groups. There was a group that John Kabat-Zinn, they learned meditation, diet, yoga. There was a group that just worked with their cardiologists, and there was a group that worked with me. My luck, I had 98% fundamentalist Christians who showed up to a 4-day workshop with their Bibles in hand. And every word that came out of my mouth, they looked up in their Bible. And you would have thought in those 4 days you were in a shamanic workshop. We drummed. I told people that drumming relaxes the heart and stress, which is true. We know that it produces endorphins in the body. So they would never stop drumming. They drummed and sang and danced in a circle around the room, sometimes for a half an hour to an hour. I couldn't stop them. We did a fire ceremony, just like any shamanic group that I was in. I asked them to let go of their beliefs that they couldn't heal into the fire, while the whole group supported them with drumming and rattling. We did a journey to the creator to get their own creation story, and nobody came back with a creation story from the Bible, and they all came back crying. And in the transfiguration ceremony, we had some miraculous healings that cardiologists say is impossible. This was a fundamentalist group, and I never said the word shamanism for 4 days. And we did 4 days of shamanic practices, and people healed. And they were so touched by the work and the study. We got great results. The study showed that anybody who took a medicine for the earth workshop could be healed from their depression after a heart attack. And the group was so touched by the work that a year later we did a reunion for all their families to come with them so we could all meet each other. So the big lesson for me in this is you can teach anybody shamanism. I taught fundamentalist Christians who were reading their Bible through every sentence I said. And we had an incredibly successful workshop, and we stayed together for years.
Thank you for sharing that. Yeah. If we're almost towards the end, but there's one more question that I think is a really good one, which is how did you on your journey come to deeply trust yourself?
Well, I've always trusted myself. That was the thing. It was a natural thing for me. I was kind of born like that. My mother lived until 98 and a half, and she actually said to people, especially my husband, every day until she died, you could never tell Sandra what to do, ever in her life, ever. And I just always had this incredible sense of my intuition. But when I got so sick, I felt I really felt like I got dropped out of an airplane at 30,000 feet with not a tool. I was so scared. It was unbelievable. I couldn't move my body. And I was in pain that was unimaginable. And so I gave up my power to others, but my body always knew what the cause was and always knew what to do. I just didn't listen. And so that's a big lesson for me that I would like to pass on to others right now. And for those of you who are aware of how much nervous system work is going on right now, um, that is what's being taught right now is it's only your body that knows.
Hmm. Well, I think that we're almost ready to wrap up because the questions will keep pouring in. But is there anything else that you would like to say in closing today?
Yeah, well, first of all, I really I love I love talking about this material, not because it's always happening material to talk about, but we are going through challenging times, and I do find that being in the darkness is so comforting, and you can really find a place of peace. And so don't distract yourself too much with the news. Don't distract yourself too much with what's going on. Really go within because there's an entire different life on inside of you. There's a whole multiple dimension going inside of you. Um, and you can grow and you can be with nature and you can have such beautiful experiences on earth right now. And we just have to realize that there were so many multiple dimensions going on in this earth right now. There's so many multiple dimensions going on in this earth right now, and you have to choose the one that you want to be in right now. A lot of it has to do with choice. And I know that everybody is doing the best they can. I absolutely positively know everybody's doing the best they can. I am an optimist. I'm a realist. I know what we have to go through, but I absolutely, absolutely trust. I have a millionth percent trust in you, in the spirits, and in the creative forces of the universe. We can do this, and we can do this together. And I just want to say blessings to all of you. And I'm always here if people need me. I'd love to be a hermit, but that hasn't been my life. And so I am here if you need me. And we are going to get through. And I just give an incredible amount of blessings to all of you. And thank you to Trisha and Shamans Directory. I cannot believe the work that you're doing right now on the planet. So thank you so, so much. And thank you, everybody. And I just want to say, truly from my heart, I really do love you. And I'm here. We're walking together. I'm walking with you. We're all together. Thank you.
Ah, thank you so much, Sandra. And I feel like we are walking with you for sure. When you said the distinction between quitting and surrendering, we're right there with you. We haven't been given permission to quit. So I just want to say, I just finished reading Sandra's book last week, the Walking Through Darkness book, and I'm going to do a plug, which I don't usually do. I'm going to say that whether you have been around shamanism forever or you want to introduce it to someone, it's just a gorgeous book. And it's called Walking Through Darkness, but it's really all, many, many ways to walk through and out of the darkness. So I really highly recommend it. And I want to say thank you so much, Sandra, for all of the beauty and the wisdom and real time support that you have offered to us today. Thank you for supporting us to let go of the burdens, the people, places, events, and ways of being that we can no longer continue or afford to continue to carry at this time. So I want to remind everyone that links for following up on today's program are in the chat and will also be under the replay on our YouTube channel. Part of our vision and mission here at Shamans Directory is to give the Indigenous elders that Sandra was speaking about a platform and a voice. So we are very excited next weekend to be hosting our first event with Itzhak Berry at Shaman Portal. And that will be an Indigenous solstice ceremony that will benefit 4 elders and their communities in Ecuador, Sweden, and Peru. And you can register for that event by either signing up for our newsletter, or I put the direct payment link in the chat if you want to check it out. So thank you again, everyone. I see you there, Sandra. Did you want to say anything else?
Just blessings, everyone.
Okay.
Blessings.
Awesome. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for taking time out of your precious weekend to be with us. And we hope to see you again soon at our next Shamans Directory live events. Take care, everyone. Many blessings.